it out. Yeah, anyway, so we got this map of North America. We were talking about doing a map of the world, but I figure most of the things we talk about are kind of American-centric. There's also obviously some world stories in there as well.
Yeah.
But really, I think most of it is about
this area.
In my experience, this is kind of more interesting than all the other parts of the world.
You got no argument for me, my friend.
Yeah,
but there's some interesting. We could cover this area as well.
We've got some other players in here. We got Canada up here, and goofballs to the north. And as I've always said, goofballs to the north and rascals to the south, Mexico. We are a perfect country sandwiched between goofballs and rascals.
Yep, we've done nothing wrong.
Both lovable, big fan.
Oh yeah, big fan of both.
Big friends of the show. But you gotta admit.
Then you have Greenland and Iceland, and of course you know this, and everybody knows this. They're reversed. Because Iceland is green and Greenland is ice.
Yeah.
It must have been an opposite day when they named those.
It was one of the most notorious bait and switches of all time. I don't know the exact story, but I think there was some explorer guy, and he goes, "Oh, you gotta go to Greenland." Yeah, I'll take Iceland. It's a piece of shit. He named them to trick somebody else. And then somebody got to Greenland, looked around, and they had egg all over their face. And they go, "Well, be damn! I'm in the fucking. This is Santa Claus's workshop up here."
Well, boy's my face red.
Do you think Santa Claus lives in Greenland? They say it's on the North Pole, but that's in the middle of the ocean up there.
Well, that's why nobody has ever found him.
Yeah, has anyone got to the North Pole before? I don't think anyone's ever made it up there,
except for jolly old Saint Nick.
Well, he lives there,
and his beautiful wife.
God, it would be fucking. Must be cold as the dickens up there. I can't imagine.
It has to be. It's cold here, and it's only 40 degrees.
Yeah, we're all the way down there.
So around there.
And it gets 1 degree colder for every mile you go north. That's the rule. I don't make up the rules. But anyway, this is the Echo Chamber Podcast. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in, or welcome to the show if this is your first time listening. This is the only podcast where 2 comedians read the Wall Street Journal because one of us gets it for free from work.
That is correct, sir.
That's true. And we've got a few articles here we're going to be reading and kind of talking about today from the Wall Street Journal. And Trent, what do you got? What are we going to hear about today?
Well, today, Joe, college kids, they don't know how to make small talk, so there's courses for that.
There's courses for that.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of college kids, actually the youth, this is from the Personal Journal. Somebody's watching you, and that's okay with teens who like to be tracked by their parents.
Sure, why not? Why would you have a problem?
I see nothing wrong with that.
Why would you have a problem with that? We're also to be talking about apparently IT workers. They've been sending funds to North Korea.
Good. See nothing wrong with that. We're also going to talk about an off-duty pilot who was arrested after a mid-flight incident where he tried to cut power to the airplane.
Oh, wow.
And there's actually some interesting details about this article that were not in the Wall Street Journal, but I've read online, and it is a much more interesting story than they have led you to believe.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. We're doing extra research, Joe.
Oh, well, I'm going the extra mile for the podcast.
That's what we all do. And finally, in my last story, Katy Perry is this is from the mansion section of the Wall Street Journal, which is only in
which
there.
Which is one of our favorite sections.
Occasionally, yes.
By the way, no other newspaper has a mansion section. Only the Wall Street Journal has some newspapers have like sports, politics, news, opinion. The Wall Street Journal has mansion section, so I love these stories.
Katy Perry, she's in a terrible legal battle over a property she's trying to buy.
My heart goes out to her. That sounds like I couldn't even imagine what that struggle would be.
A lot of twists and turns in that.
Well, people who are struggling almost as much as Katy Perry is, but it's certainly not quite as much, are librarians in libraries all over the country. Who are at the front line of a U.S. mental health crisis. Again, again, pales in comparison to Katy Perry.
Yeah.
Doesn't even come close.
Wow. Well, Should I start us off?
Why don't you kick us off? What was that?
Well,
where were we?
we're starting. I'll tell you.
Tell me all about it. Tell me all about it. And this is from the Wall Street Journal, correct?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's from the
okay.
Wall Street
From the
Journal.
Wall Street Journal.
Yeah. Headline: College courses teach young adults how to make small talk.
Jesus Christ.
Professors stage simulated network events for students to hone their chit chat.
For the small price of $200,000, you too could learn how to be a human being.
Jana Matthews, a professor of medieval literature at Rollins College, checks the bathrooms to coax out students hiding from the big event in her job market boot camp class, a mixer with alumni, to practice professional networking. So
Wow.
kids are hiding in the bathroom to avoid even making eye contact with other human beings. For many,
Wow.
these are college students, not people in kindergarten.
Right. No, people in kindergarten, in my experience, have been much more outgoing.
Well, that's before they're riddled with all the woes of the world.
Yeah.
They don't know any better. They don't know what the horrific tales of the future are going to be.
They're not reading the Wall Street Journal every day.
Yeah. For many of our students, the face-to-face conversations with strangers are more nerve-wracking than decoding Chaucer.
Grow a fucking pair of balls. Jesus Christ.
Sydney Parmet had trouble sleeping the night before and considered skipping it. Quote, I kept overthinking what I was going to say and second-guessed whether I would say anything, said Parmet, who graduated in May from the Winter Park, Florida campus. Matthews recommends students try swiping deodorant on palms to avoid clammy handshakes. Now, this is a problem I have. I have sweaty hands. Not from nerves. I've just always had sweaty hands. It's probably...
Well, you're also not a big small talk guy.
I'm not a big small talk guy, but
Yeah, so is the sweat, do you think that is a factor into it, or is that separate?
No, because there's sweaty right now, and I can talk to you all day and all night.
Well, I can't wait to see where the conversation goes after the podcast.
But everybody brings it up. I shake people's hands. They look at me in disgust.
Yeah. They got a weak handshake, covered in sweat, clammy,
Yeah.
white, pale, pasty. I could go on.
Those who vomit from nerves should pop a breath mint. If the question, tell me about yourself, triggers temporary amnesia, consult your prepared script, she says. Students practice moving from introductions to asking about the other person to giving their elevator pitch that covers their interest, work, experience, and skills.
Jesus Christ.
Parmet said she was awkward when she entered the room until another student pulled her into conversation and she explained her dream of finding a job for a nonprofit. She now works for a group that aids homeless families and those at risk of becoming homeless.
So I'm sorry. So she can't talk to her fellow college classmates, but her dream is to go talk to homeless people. I'm sorry, but if you can't get through small talk with a normal, well-adjusted person, how are you going to talk to Stinky Pete?
Yeah,
Miss Debbie. Don't look at me, Stinky Pete.
Yeah, homeless people are notorious for being good at making conversation.
Well, they will certainly start the conversation.
They will. One time when I first moved here, like a couple of weeks in, I was living on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. And
right there on the map.
Well, there's really no way of knowing. But
I pointed at it.
but I was walking by, and there's a homeless guy that always stood out in front of my apartment. And one time he told me to do some push-ups.
What, did you shake his hand first, or what? What prompted him to say that?
No, I was just walking by, and he clocked me as being a weak young boy.
Yeah, he said do some push-ups. Did you say get a job?
No, I said, okay, mister, I will.
That's good. That's small talk 101. Agree. It's improv small talk 101. Always agree. And cower.
Yes, and everybody seems to have a theory about why many young adults have trouble with so-called soft skills, which include the art of persuasion and civil conversation.
Well, I think the youth of America should read a great book. It's called The Art of the Deal. by former U.S. president, who I won't go to the trouble of naming.
Yeah, 45.
Quite the convincer. Quite the small talk.
Blame,
good.
Blame
Good.
smartphone
Good.
addiction,
The goddamn
COVID cocooning, or helicopter parenting.
Hold on, we gotta let the fucking. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I ordered Uber Eats. I didn't get any food. I just wanted someone to come and ring the phone.
Good.
I want to come and ring the doorbell.
All right, we'll just cut that.
I think we should leave it. I like it.
All right. Well, blame smartphone addiction, COVID cocooning, or helicopter parenting, and we've covered that many times. Regardless of a cause, a growing number of college professors in various disciplines around the U.S. are trying to keep professional chit-chat from becoming a lost language, like that of Latin.
I don't know what happened to these fucking kids, and it's not their fault, I don't think, but I do pity them. But it's got to be the technology. But like 25 years ago, when like Men in Black came out, it's like the concept is like, look at these people, they're pretending to be humans, but there's something off about them, you know? So you could tell that they're aliens.
Yeah.
But now you have no idea. You just go, oh, I don't know, I could just be a homeschooled kid. Who knows? Aliens are probably have the easiest time slipping into society.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Smart.
it's
I am bad at small talk. I am bad at chit chat.
I think it's an amalgamation of things, Joe. It's probably smartphone addiction, COVID cocooning, helicopter parenting.
Well, Trent, that is cutting analysis.
But yeah, it is. It's probably not their fault, but it's still irritating.
Even
if it's not their fault.
If my son came back for Thanksgiving his freshman year in college, and I go, "How's school going, son?" And he goes, and he's obviously not looking at me, and he's looking at the plate, and he goes, "It's good. I'm in an elective to learn how to chit chat." I would know that I'd failed as a father. If my son is taking a class to learn how to chit chat. What the fuck are we paying $200,000? You know what will teach you how to chit chat?
Yeah.
Drop out of school, go get a job at fucking Wendy's, dude. You'll learn how to chit chat real fast. You will cut your teeth. You can't learn how to make small talk in an academic environment with an old professor telling you how to make small talk. Remember your script, kids. Remember your script. No, drop out of school, save the money. You're gonna need it. It sounds like, and go work in the food industry. You'll learn how to fucking chit chat really fast.
Yeah. Well, Claire Ralph, a Caltech computer science lecturer, said when she started at the campus in 2016, she was surprised that a fifth of her students had spent 5 months looking for a job, not even getting interviews. She asked to see copies of their cover letters. One began, quote, "Hey, what's up, y'all?" Oh. The student explained that someone said a cover letter should be friendly, graphical. So
what? What's it spelled with Z's? What's up?
What's up? Like
what's up?
Yeah,
like you're in the Ninja Turtles.
Like that Budweiser ad. You remember that one?
No, which one is that?
They say, "What's up?"
Okay. Oh, yeah. How could I forget? No, sorry. Yeah, for sure. Budweiser. Got it.
Yeah. It could have been Bud Light or one of the.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah.
So this cover letter has not produced success for them.
No responses from that cover letter.
I'm sure. Fluff it up a little bit, and it'll get there. Yeah, it sounds like it's almost there.
She talked about students' communication shortcomings with colleagues. Everyone came to the same conclusion. Quote, "It was a hole people knew existed," she said, "but didn't know how to plug."
Didn't know how to plug, huh?
Employers see it even if students don't. When college seniors were asked to rate their communication, nearly 80% responded, quote, "very/extremely proficient." Only 54% of employers agreed, according to a 2022 survey by the National Association of Colleges and Employers. So this is also part of the problem.
Okay.
Is kids have never been told that they've done anything wrong.
Yeah,
they've always been said,
right.
"Oh, you're great.
Yeah,
this is the greatest thing. You're the greatest. You're God's gift to Earth."
Yeah, you've got
and they go
overconfidence.
Yeah. Which I have the exact opposite.
What, meaning your experience is the exact opposite?
I know I'm bad at small talk. I'm not delusional.
Yeah,
It's
right.
no secret.
Right.
I'm self-aware enough to.
Yeah, you're right. Right.
So, Rachel Tour, a creative writing professor at Eastern Washington University in Cheney, Washington, asked students as an exercise to write a cover letter explaining why she should accept them into her class. The assignment, she said, revealed another problem: a painfully self-absorbed point of view. Among her examples this is what one of her students wrote. I want to take this class because I am a poet and I need to get a class out of my genre. I am a good writer and have done well in my creative writing courses. I am a great applicant, and this will get me what I want.
You're a good writer, huh? This is a compelling case so far.
She asked for a volunteer to share their letter with the class, which
So give me what I want.
which further stirred her. I won't take no for an answer. Which further stirred her despair. Since the students seemed to all write in similar fashion, most had no criticisms. A cover letter, she told the class, was supposed to make people fall in love with you. In the job market, that means explaining how the company will benefit, she said, not the applicant.
Yeah.
David S. Salisbury, from the famous steak family.
Really?
No. Does much of his academic research.
Who grew up in steak fortune, never had to lift a finger.
He does most of his academic research in remote parts of the Amazon. I don't think it's on...
We're just creeping into
Yeah.
it, the bottom corner.
Where he lives among indigenous people and communicates in Spanish and Portuguese with tribe members who know the languages. He faces bigger hurdles on campus. Quote, students' interpersonal skills are not as sharp as they used to be, said Salisbury, the professor of geography, environment, and sustainability
Professor of cheap steaks.
at the University of Richmond in Richmond, Virginia. Salisbury stops class when a student doesn't refer to a peer by name. If a student says, I really enjoyed Brian's idea, but I think this might be something to add, I say, I love how you mentioned Brian's name, he said. Last year, he joined students, alumni at a cocktail party ahead of a conference aimed at helping students network with younger professionals. At the event, he helped introduce shy students to alumni. Quote, some of us were freaking out because we didn't know how to respond, said Jeff Sy, a sophomore biology major. Quote, he supported me in striking up a conversation.
Wow. The cover letter thing's hilarious because I feel like the other stuff, I feel like we know that they're bad at communicating.
Yeah.
We know that they're riddled with anxiety.
Yeah.
And we also know that
they're self-absorbed.
This just sounds so hateful, but I mean, let's be honest.
It's true.
It's true.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. The cover letter is insane. That's
That's so crazy to be like, I'll use the money to buy the things I want. The money you'll give me from the job.
I'm good.
I'm good.
And I've never heard anybody say the opposite. So it has to be true.
It must be me.
Anyway, what's up?
Wow. So, Trent, speaking of the young people of America,
Yes.
and their anxiety problems that can sort of manifest in different ways. Well, this is an article from the Personal Journal of the Wall Street Journal. Headline: Somebody's watching you, and that's okay with teens who want their parents to track their phones and monitor their every move.
Jesus Christ.
Now, when I was a teenager, I would fucking lose my mind over the concept of my mom knowing where I was at all time.
Yeah, that would be insane to me.
And I do think that this probably swings a little more towards girls. Probably like this.
Girls. Somebody tell Motley Crue.
Ooh, he's on today, baby. Let's jump right into it. Teenagers have long balked at telling parents where they are. And that's been my experience. Now they're asking their parents to track them. Every generation experiences a set of traumas, but social media and real-time news with vivid images of the pandemic, war, and other disasters have heightened these anxieties among young people. And lots of them are closer to their parents than previous generations have been. Members of Gen Z... Mom, what's going on out there? Members of Gen Z, ages 11 to 26, say they use family location sharing apps to bolster a sense of security. Downloads of the app Life 360 doubled in the U.S. since 2021. The app now has more than 33 million and another 20 million internationally. Even more teens share their location using Apple's Find My, Google's Family Link, Snapchat Snap Map, and GPS-equipped smartwatches. Emery Liddig's biggest fear is being abducted. This is a teenager.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like, that's never going to, I shouldn't say never, but the likelihood of that happening is slim to none.
To let a fear of that control your life is no way to go through life.
Yeah.
Her biggest fear is being kidnapped because a 10-year-old girl in her hometown of Davenport, Iowa was kidnapped and murdered by a relative of the victim in July 2020. It took 8 months to find her body. News coverage of the case was constant and left Emery shaken. Quote, if something happened to me, I think it would be useful for my parents to know my last location. My last location, she says.
Yeah,
Emery
sure.
also relies on Life 360 when she goes to parties. During freshman year, she was at a party where teens, and this is kind of unbelievable to me, teens were drinking and a boy was hitting on her. Oh, wow. She texted her parents to pick her up.
Wow.
She didn't have to ask anyone for the address because her parents could see where she was on the app.
Wow.
Quote, they were there in less than 20 minutes.
Wow.
She said, crisis averted. Any teenager's nightmare, going to a party with drinking
and getting flirted with.
Chemistry. Get me out of here, Mom. Put me back in the crib.
Wow.
Well, Trent, youth mental health has reached crisis level.
No shit.
According to the U.S. Surgeon General. Modern parenting, with its emphasis on coddling and its lack of unstructured playtime, can also contribute to kids' anxiety, says Michelle Borba, an education psychologist who has written several books about kids and parenting and is a spokeswoman for Life 360.
What is unstructured playtime?
I read a different article about unstructured playtime that never made the cut, and it's actually really interesting. So unstructured playtime was something that was pivotal to every child's development since the dawn of time. Because basically, your dad would be reading the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
And you go, Dad, you gotta just go fuck off, play with blocks over there.
Yeah.
And then you'd go do that, and you go outside and play for hours.
I
And
can't imagine.
the concept is playing without a parental structure.
Sure.
But
you just go out till the street lights come on.
Let them play. Play should be self-directed.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
If it's not self-directed, it's not play. You're following orders and you're living in a
dictatorship.
In a dictatorship.
Yeah.
And then soon you become you get Stockholm syndrome, and you go, get me out of this party.
Yeah.
I don't like all the unstructured play happening at this party.
See, I've never even thought about structured playtime.
Well, that's all there is now, because parents go, we will take them to soccer practice.
Yeah, it's
we'll
all. Pick them up. There's no free time. It's all you got to go to soccer practice, then you go to oboe practice. and then you got a
recital. You got the recital.
Yeah.
You got to pick up trash.
Yeah.
Then we're going to the highway, 7 a.m.
Because you got to go to college, and then you got to take classes on how to learn how to make small talk. It's a fucking cycle. We got to follow it.
Yeah. We're doing this so you can make good grades,
and then
get into the best college. Harvard has an amazing class on how to look someone in the eye.
And then you'll write a cover letter and you say, I'm great. I've always been great. I went to elbow practice. I never missed a day. And I'll be a good alcohol salesman.
And you can track my every movement.
And I won't say no.
These kids have been helicoptered, snowplowed, and bubble wrapped. Not really sure what snowplowed means. And just sounds kind of sexual. It's kind of weird. And just because a parent knows where their children are doesn't mean they can protect them from harm. Now, that's...
No, oh, really?
Yeah. At best, parents have an easier way to locate kids or even get them more quickly after something happens. It also doesn't give kids confidence to take more risks, for better or worse. Real risk takers aren't seeking this level of parental oversight and can turn off their location or temporarily leave their phones behind if they want to evade supervision.
Yeah. They're known as bad boys.
They're called fucking rebels. and there was about 5 of them in a little band called the Rolling Stones. Look it up. Their mommies weren't tracking them, honey. Tracking kids does have a benefit for anxious kids, though. It offers psychological comfort or feeling connected, says Pamela Rutledge, director of the Media Psychology Research Center, an independent research organization. Quote, when you feel safer, you can relax and have a better time.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, like, 20 years ago, this happened, is nobody is allowed to feel uncomfortable anymore.
Exactly. If there's a moment of anxiety or discomfort, we go, we'll smooth that over.
Yeah.
We'll take you to oboe practice. We'll pick up some trash. We'll put on the Barney theme song. We'll do anything. We have undedicated attention. I'll call into work.
We'll change everything to fit you.
If you felt uncomfortable back in the day, the solution was, why don't you mow the lawn?
Yeah. So,
and then you realize how comfortable you really were before you were mowing the lawn and weeding in the yard.
Yeah.
You go, man, I would actually like to get back to not doing chores.
Yeah, but now kids wouldn't be allowed to mow the lawn because of the blades.
It's too dangerous.
It's a very dangerous job.
Everyone's allergic to grass, so you can't be close to grass.
The blades, and they're allergic to grass.
Is the leading killer of kids.
Well, that's fascinating, Joe. This is from the Wall Street Journal.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
IT workers sent North Korea funds. Thousands of information technology workers contracting with U.S. companies have for years secretly sent millions of dollars of their wages to North Korea.
I've never trusted an IT guy. I've never trusted one.
Yeah. I'm with you. And for good reason, apparently.
I said you're a commie, aren't you?
They've sent millions of dollars of their wages to North Korea for use in its ballistic missile program.
What?
The FBI
This
and Justice Department officials said. Well, here, the Justice Department said IT workers dispatched and contracted by North Korea to work remotely with companies in St. Louis and elsewhere have been using false identities to get jobs. So, like, they're remote workers.
Yeah.
And they're using fake names and stuff. They're North Koreans, and then they're sending money to Kim Jong-un.
Okay, so Kim Jong-un says, go become IT workers for like kind of any kind of company.
Yeah.
And then you're just going to make a salary and then send some of it back to North Korea?
Yeah, for their ballistic missile program.
That seems like the most harebrained.
Well, like it's working.
Covert scheme.
It's working.
It's working, baby. Wow. So these guys are writing cover letters. They're going, what's up?
Yeah. And this is why they can easily get jobs, because these kids, they don't know how to get them.
Yeah.
So they
what's good at small talk? North Koreans.
Yeah. And they've never.
When you don't know if
they've never been told they're great.
No. They said they've been told shut up and stay in line.
Don't ask questions.
Yeah.
So that's how they're getting these IT jobs.
You know, when you don't know if you're gonna go hungry every night, small talk becomes quickly irrelevant.
Yeah.
And suddenly you could do something you never thought you could before.
Federal authorities announced the seizure Wednesday of $1.5 million and 17 domain names as part of the investigation, which is ongoing. Jay Greenberg, special agent in charge of the St. Louis FBI office, said...
I love how they all went to St. Louis.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Said any company that hired freelance IT workers, quote, more than likely hired someone participating in the scheme.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder if my IT guy at my job is doing that.
Well, you'll have to ask him.
God, he seems like a proud American, though, but go ahead.
That's how they get you.
I know.
An FBI spokesman said Thursday that the North Koreans contracted with companies in the U.S. and other countries. So it's happening all over. And it's likely that it's any IT guy is doing it.
Wow. So you're saying 9 out of 10 IT guys are sending a small portion of their paycheck back to the ballistic missile program in North Korea. Yeah, that's crazy. So there's been lots of different campaigns, espionage campaigns, and things like that in the history of the United States. Most recently, Russia interfering with the 2016 election. Over the course of years, and doing things like that. Back in World War II, you had spies getting into the government, finding out secrets. But never before has someone said, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. Go to the country, write a cover letter, get an IT job at Russell Stover's, what companies are based in St. Louis. Go to Emo's Pizza.
Yeah, pizza. There's a alcohol.
Anheuser-Busch.
Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah. Go to InBev.
Yeah.
And join the IT team. All right. Now you're going to send. You want to opt in for healthcare. That's smart.
Yeah.
That's about $40 a pay period. Yeah. I want you to send another $40 back to us. Also, $1.5 million, really kind of nothing in terms of a ballistic missile program budget. What does that get you? Like one missile?
We don't know what that is in North Korea money.
That's true. Yeah, we don't even know what North Korea money is.
No, we don't.
I'm not sure that there is money there. I think you just send back the money and I don't know.
It all goes to Kim Jong-un.
That's so funny. Kim Jong-un. I have many IT people in the U.S.
What is the North Korean currency?
Corn? I don't know. Rice?
We have to ask Dennis Rodman.
Out. Yeah. Oh yeah, Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is he an ambassador or is he a spy? He's sort of a Severus Snape. Which side is he on? Yeah,
that's true.
Does he?
I love Dennis Rodman.
I love him too. He used to be a basketball star, but I think it might behoove us to ask ourselves now, what is he currently doing?
Yeah.
Is he perhaps in the IT department somewhere?
Yeah, a guy like Dennis Rodman, he'd probably be good with computers.
Mm-hmm. He probably looked at this scheme and thought, that's a slam dunk.
Oh, there you go.
Well, wow, that's a fascinating story.
Yeah.
You know what else is a fascinating story? And this is from the Wall Street Journal.
Go on.
You're not going to believe this. An off-duty pilot is arrested after a mid-flight incident. An off-duty pilot...
You can't trust anybody anymore.
Well, I freak out every time I get on an airplane. I think something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And something almost did happen if you're flying Alaska Airlines. An off-duty Alaska Airlines pilot riding in a cockpit jump seat on a regional flight was arrested. He was just catching a ride from one place to another.
Yeah.
But he's riding up there in the cockpit with the pilots. Well, he was arrested on suspicion of attempted murder after he allegedly tried to disable the aircraft's engines during a flight.
Jesus.
Alaska Flight 2059, operated by Horizon Air, was diverted Sunday evening to Portland, Oregon, after an off-duty pilot unsuccessfully attempted to disrupt operation of the engines. The Horizon captain and first officer quickly responded, secured the plane, and the engine power wasn't lost. Portland Airport police arrested Joseph D. Emerson without incident once the flight landed, according to spokeswoman for the Port of Portland. The Federal Aviation Administration urged carriers and flight crews to remain vigilant in a security message sent Monday and said the incident was, quote, not connected in any way, shape, or form to current world events. It's not a politically motivated. A federal law enforcement official said the case appeared to be an isolated incident unrelated to terrorism.
This guy, pay no heed. This guy is just your regular run-of-the-mill asshole.
Emerson was booked in a local jail on 83 counts of attempted murder,
wow,
as well as charges of reckless endangerment, endangering an aircraft. According, so these are pretty bad charges.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good.
So you might be thinking, okay, well, it's not politically motivated. It's not an act of terrorism.
What is it?
How do they know that? What is it? Well, they don't say in this article.
Okay, but you did more research.
I did a little digging.
You did a little digging.
I did it for the
which
podcast.
They don't do in the Wall Street Journal.
They don't like to dig.
But we're a little different.
Yeah, we take what they start and we go the extra mile, Trent. Now, what happened? And this is all going to be paraphrased because I don't.
Can I make a guess?
Sure.
Is it a jilted lover?
I don't think so. No.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
what happened was 48 hours before he caught this flight, he took psychedelic mushrooms. The amount is undisclosed.
Okay.
And he'd been struggling with depression, and so he took some mushrooms. But since the mushrooms, he's been awake for 48 hours.
Good God.
He's not high on mushrooms anymore, but it's safe to say
he's
in a
brain.
volatile mental state.
Yeah, it broke his brain.
He was having a nervous breakdown of sorts.
What they call a bad trip.
And he didn't know. Apparently, there's a quote from him. He didn't know if he was dreaming or not.
Oh, my God.
So to try to jolt himself awake, he'd been trying to do things to wake himself up. To try to jolt himself awake, he tried to cut the engines to the aircraft to see if that might wake him up.
Jesus Christ.
And I think the charges might have been a bit of a wake-up
He
for
got
him.
a rude awakening.
It is for a rude awakening.
Wow.
So if you're an off-duty pilot, maybe do those shrooms 72 hours before your next flight, not 48.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So he was... But
Dwayne's got a bit about it. Dwayne Cullen, friend of the show, welcome anytime.
about this specific incident?
Yeah, and the guy. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's just been working a bit out about it.
Wow, Dwayne Cullen, friend of the show, welcome anytime.
Great show down the street, Sunnyside Comedy, happening tonight.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, anyway.
Wow.
But fascinating story.
So he was aware enough to know that he needed to get on a flight to go to another place.
Yeah, I think, but when he was like maybe just walking through, felt his life in a dream-like state, didn't know what was real. I think he said, "I'm not okay," and then pulled the thing. Those were his words.
Yeah.
It was, "I'm not okay."
Nothing happened. The other pilots were there to
Yeah, I think they turned it back on.
and they were like, hey, knock it off. What are you doing, you weirdo?
They go, once this plane lands, you're in big trouble, buddy. No, they took him to the back of the plane and apprehended him. I guess.
Oh, they hogtied him.
They hogtied his ass.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But it is nothing to what Katy Perry is dealing with.
Nothing that we have talked about so far. And by the way, nothing that's ever happened to anyone in the world can compare to Katy Perry's struggle.
It all pales in comparison. This is from the Wall Street Journal. This is from the Mansion section. Headline, Inside Katy Perry's Battle Over a California Estate.
God.
The pop star scored a victory over Carl Westcott, the wealthy 84-year-old who says he was mentally incapacitated when he sold.
Was he an off-duty pilot?
He 72 hours before this, he took mushrooms.
Yeah. He was just trying to wake up.
Yeah. Quote, I know a place where the grass is really greener, sings pop star Katy Perry in her 2010 hit California Girls. We all know that tune. On a November morning in Perry's hometown of Santa Barbara, California, that seemed to be the case. On a gated estate spanning more than 2 acres in the coveted enclave of Montecito, the only sound was the gurgling of fountains. The spacious circa 1930 house was backed by green mountains, and the Pacific Ocean and Channel Islands could be seen
really
through
painting a picture in this
gap in the towering hedges. They are painting a picture. Well, this is the mansion section.
We don't just dive into the story in the mansion section.
You gotta envision this beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna close my
California
eyes.
estate.
It sounds fucking gorgeous.
It is. There's a picture. Look at that.
Yeah. Wow. Look at that. That looks nice. It looks nice.
Yeah.
Well,
For the past 3 years, the secluded $15 million estate has stood at the center of a legal battle as 2 wealthy and powerful people fight for the right
to party.
to live on the property.
Right.
At a time when homes for sale in sought-after areas such as Montecito are scarce, Perry, the songstress and American Idol judge who recently sold the rights to her music catalog, is seeking to wrest the property from Carl Westcott, the 84-year-old car dealership and communications business mogul. In July 2020, Westcott signed a contract to sell the home for $15 million to Perry's business manager, who is acting on her behalf. Mm-hmm. A few days later, Westcott informed Perry's team that he didn't want to sell. Both sides sued, with Westcott claiming the contract is invalid because he was mentally incapacitated by degenerative illness Huntington's disease and by the pain pills he was taking after a back surgery. So it's kind of like he was on mushrooms. He was on pain pills.
Right. Now, is that a real thing legally? Can you get out of a contract if you were like...
Well, this is what the article is about.
It didn't work for Roseanne Barr. She made that tweet. She said, I was on painkillers. That didn't undo that.
No, but that was a little different. That was entertainment based. That was...
Sure.
They had other people involved. Now this is a quote, if Katy Perry had 1 ounce of compassion for the mentally disabled, we would not be here. Said Westcott's 45-year-old son, Court, who now
Mentally
manages
disabled.
the family business.
Compassion for the mentally disabled. First of all, she kissed a girl and she liked it. And that's not mentally disabled.
I don't know what is.
I mean, no one in their right mind. Anyway, she should have all the compassion in the world.
Yeah. Perry's legal team maintains those claims are false and that Westcott simply changed his mind after failing to find a suitable replacement home in Montecito's tight market.
That's a tight market.
It's
a tight market.
They have demanded that Westcott hand over the property, suing for $3.21 million in damages. Westcott's son, Chart, this is a different son from his other son, Court. Chart and Court Westcott. They probably are good guys.
Oh, wow.
He's a lawyer, 38-year-old lawyer and private investor. He wrote an op-ed in the conservative online publication The Federalist proposing legislation he calls the Perry Act. Perry stands for Protecting Elder Realty for Retirement Years.
I love this. Yeah. Let's sharpen these fucking cleavers here.
The act, endorsed by local lawmakers in a handful of states, according to a website dedicated to the proposal.
That is so petty.
No, it's not petty.
It's Perry.
Would apply to home sales involving anyone age 75 or over and institute a 72-hour cool-down period, allowing either party to back out of a contract without penalty.
It's not a terrible
idea.
Yeah.
When a buyer is anticipating buying a property during the process, they're visualizing themselves in the home, said Montecito real estate agent Harry Kolb. Quote, it becomes pretty emotional. Still, he said, it is unusual and costly for a property dispute of this type to make it to trial. Quote, most people would decide it's not worth the fight, he added. Perry and Westcott are not most people.
No, they're not. A lot of dogging those, a lot of fighting those dogs.
Yeah.
Dogging those fights.
Exactly.
Listen, I took shrooms 48 hours ago. I would like 3 days to decide if what I said
just try to turn off the recording.
is worth staying in the podcast. I don't think that's too much to ask.
Perry, 39, grew up as the daughter of traveling Pentecostal ministers. In their strict Christian household, Perry was allowed to listen only to Christian music, according to the documentary Katy Perry, A Part of Me. Often lighthearted, Perry's music also veered into darker territory. During a performance of her song Dark Horse at the 2014 Grammys in Los Angeles, she appeared inside a crystal ball wearing a hooded cloak, then gyrated on a witch's broom.
What does any of that have to do with this?
Well, I'll tell you.
Okay.
She tried to buy she tried to pay $14 million for a nun's convent.
Oh my God.
And the archdiocese sold it to her, but the nuns, they didn't like that. Quote, I didn't want her on our property, said Sister Rita Callanan of the California Institute of the Sisters of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. That's kind of a long name.
And the archdiocese, if anyone could use the Perry clause. But no, they go, no, we were of sound mind.
Yeah. When the sisters signed the deed over to entrepreneur Dana Hollister for $15.5 million, a legal dispute ensued. In 2016, a judge ruled the archdiocese, not the nuns, had the right to sell, declaring the sale to Hollister invalid and ordering her to pay Perry and the archdiocese $15 million in damages and legal fees.
Jesus.
In 2018, the saga ended when 89-year-old Sister Catherine Rose Holzman collapsed and died in court during a hearing in Hollister's bankruptcy proceeding. Perry ended up not buying the property, which remains vacant.
Jesus. So she's got a scorched earth policy with these places. She's dropping nuns like flies.
She's got a nun's blood on her hands.
She's got a nun's blood. She's got an old, disabled, confused, dementia-riddled guy with John Hopkins lymphoma disease, or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
She goes, give me the house.
I believe
give me the nunnery.
Yeah,
Huntington's disease.
Well, it gets even wilder, Joe.
God.
Like Perry, Westcott is entirely self-made. Born without outdoor plumbing in Vicksburg, Mississippi, he had a rough childhood, court said.
So he's not going to fucking fold like one of those old nuns is. He's not going to collapse in court. He's a fighter.
Well, hold on.
He's got some fighting.
Hold
He's got
on.
some dog in that fight.
He better not count his chickens just yet. After a stint in the Army, he went to work for a car dealership, eventually acquiring 17 dealerships, which is a thing that could never happen now. But in the old days, you buy one car dealership.
Oh yeah, you get a
rake in the
job.
money.
Yeah.
The Dallas-based entrepreneur went on to found multiple companies, including the media company Westcott Communications, which he sold to KKR subsidiary in 1996 for $422 million. Around 2015, court said his father's personality began to change. Westcott had been sober since the 1980s, but that was no longer the case.
Oh my God!
Quote, he went from being in bed at 10 p.m. and being sober to trying to rent a helicopter to go to the electronic dance music festival EDC Las Vegas with people he just met. His parents divorced after decades of marriage.
People he just met, like a pilot from Alaska Airlines.
His parents divorced after decades of marriage, and his father moved in with his then girlfriend Adelina Radeva.
Ah, beauty.
Who was about 50 years younger than Westcott.
A true beauty.
Quote, there are drugs, there are women. Westcott's attorney Andrew Thomas said in court, the Westcotts attribute the changes to Huntington's disease, a degenerative neurological disorder that can affect behavior, emotion, cognition, and personality. Perry's team argued in court, however, that Westcott's medical records are unclear as to whether he actually had symptoms of the disease at the time. So they call it Huntington's disease. I call it being a cool guy.
I'm sorry, if my disease results in Adelina being around, not a big problem.
My girlfriend who's 50 years younger than me, Adelina Rivera.
This is the name of a tin. Of a perfect tin.
Yeah. Westcott then asked his broker and friend Crystal Clark to help him find a replacement home after he sold the thing to Perry. Touring several properties with Radeva. Oh, beauty.
She goes, beautiful. Nothing compares.
Mi amor, Radeva. But the couple was...
It's not good enough. I want the old place.
The couple was disappointed by the houses they saw, Radeva testified. On July 22nd, Westcott informed Perry's team that he had decided not to sell. Quote, I apologize for any inconvenience this may cause you. I'm 80 years old and had major surgery that lasted 6 hours, 6 days prior to signing the contract. I was under the influence of heavy pain medication. In response, Perry and Orlando Bloom...
What?
Yeah, they're a couple. They're an item.
Oh, my God.
They wrote a letter to Westcott saying they were excited to raise their child in the home. Westcott reiterated that he didn't want to sell, and within a month, both parties had sued.
Mm. You hate to see a lawsuit.
You hate to see a lawsuit, but you also hate to see this.
Oh, my God.
Westcott attempted suicide in 2021
and
has been too ill to attend the trial, said his sons, who are now managing the case for him. They say he is on his deathbed.
Oh, my Lord.
And they're seeking not just to honor his wish to die in Montecito, but to clear his name. It is unclear whether either Perry or Westcott will live in the Montecito house once the court case is over. Something Westcott's not living in this house.
He's not going to make it too much longer.
No.
Why don't you just wait for him to die and then take it over?
That could be a possibility.
In fact, they should all just move in together. He loves drugs and parties and rock stars. I'm sure Orlando Bloom and Katy Perry love the same. He's just going to be sitting in a bed whittling away for a couple of years. But look, it's a mansion. There's 50 rooms in it.
Yeah.
There's room for everybody in there.
Just
get everybody in there.
Yeah.
Like the new Playboy mansion.
Court and Charton. A whole party.
Dinner's ready.
Yeah, but in 2021, Westcott moved into a residential managed care mental health facility and is now bedridden, court said.
Christ.
Perry's newly purchased Montecito home, she bought another home in the meantime.
Even though it's a tight market?
Is a 6-bedroom estate on 9 acres with ocean views, according to the previous listing.
That's garbage. No, you don't want that.
The singer has filed for a number of building permits to renovate the property. Meanwhile, starting in August 2021, Perry rented another property in the area for $75,000 a month.
Oh, garbage.
Her lawyer said in court documents.
See, she has to resort to these second-rate piece of shit oceanfront properties. Only have 6 rooms in them.
Yeah.
And all she wants is the coveted Montecito mansion.
Yeah.
And you know, through no fault of her own, the Perry body count keeps getting higher.
Yeah, she killed a nun. Now
she killed a nun. Now she's going to kill an old guy with Huntington's disease.
Old millionaire, yeah. An old cool millionaire who's partying up in his last
veteran millionaire.
Years where he shuffles off this mortar coil. Now he wouldn't have tried to kill himself had this not been the case. He would have lived out the rest of his glory days in the beautiful Montecito estate.
Why would a guy who has Huntington's disease, who's renting helicopters at 3 a.m. to go to EDM concerts, have any desire to kill himself? I wouldn't even cross my mind.
His beautiful 30-year-old Latina girlfriend.
His 13-year-old Latina girlfriend, who, by the way, is a world-class 10. Why would he have any impulse to pull that airline ignition down to nothing?
I don't know. Maybe he wants to go out on top.
Well, do I have the airline company for that? No great way to go. Well, that's crazy. I'm sorry that that's happening to Katy Perry. I'm sorry that she's... You know, it's sad because all she wants is a nice place to raise her kid somewhere with space.
Yeah.
Not a 6-bedroom oceanfront property. No, a real place with space to raise her child with Orlando Bloom. And she's had to knock out a couple nuns, a couple old guys. And it's a shame. So I hope she gets it.
Me too. I think we're all praying for it.
I'm praying for it. Now, that was a harrowing tale, Trent.
Uh-oh.
Okay, sorry. Technical difficulty, and we are back.
We're back.
We're back. And anyway, just saying, can't imagine going through anything that difficult like Katy Perry's going through. No. There are people, and this is our last story, who are on the front lines of a U.S. mental health crisis. But again, I would just like to reiterate, this pales in comparison to
what Katy Perry and Carl Westcott are going through.
Yeah, exactly. It's from the Wall Street Journal.
No.
Libraries, Trent, are on the front lines of U.S.'s mental health crisis. Staffers sometimes face violence as they are troubled, as aid-troubled patrons offer social services.
God.
Yeah, so this is from West Virginia. When Michael Baer started working as a library assistant, he thought he would be helping with term papers or leading a book club.
Wow.
Guess again.
Book clubs are out.
Book clubs are out. And our libraries are not what you remember them, Trent. Instead, he spends most of the time assisting patrons in crisis with nowhere else to go. Quote, "They just want someone to talk to," said Baer, 37, who has worked for 4 years at the library in a city of 46,000 people on the Ohio River.
Wow.
One of the few indoor public spaces open to all comers, libraries are now the scene for all that ails the public scarred by the pandemic and an opioid epidemic.
Jesus Christ.
For staff, that means reversing overdoses in bathrooms,
oh my God,
confronting patrons watching pornography, or defending against people brandishing guns.
Jesus Christ.
Or a snake in a jar. I think
snake in a jar? What the fuck is that?
I don't know. Some people come to the library to sleep, get warm, or use the bathroom. Others are looking for jobs, housing, or just somewhere safe to read.
Doesn't sound like it's very safe.
Somewhere safe to. This is not a place for reading anymore. Quote, they don't have anywhere else to go, but they don't trust other places. I love being that place. But after a while, it's taxing and wearing on you, said Kevin King, head of community engagement at Kalamazoo Public Library in Michigan. 6 years ago, fewer than 24 libraries in North America employed full-time social workers, said Sarah Johnson, a licensed social worker, adjunct lecturer at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. Today, more than 100 employ social workers and more have social worker interns, she said. Jeez. A rise in the methamphetamine and Huntington's illicit drug supply has worsened some people's mental distress. City agencies are so overburdened that it can take a month to get a person who is struggling on the streets involuntarily committed to a hospital. Quote, our community is trying to do something, said Brenda Bowen, director of Campbell Huntington Public Library. So I thought we'd just end on kind of an uplifting.
Yeah, no comment. Let's just end it there.
All right.
That's wild, Joe.
It's crazy.
These are like small towns.
Yes.
You expect that in New York. You know, you hear about like homeless people hanging out at the library or whatever. That's to be expected.
Well, but in New York and there's places, there's much more resources for these people to go. There's more community activism in inner city, whatever shit.
Sure, that's true.
But in a small town, you might just have the library.
That's true. I never considered that.
What's a public space where you can go in, it's warm, and that you can pretty much push the staff over. It's not like the DMV where they'll be like, get the fuck out of here.
Right, it's a bunch of old ladies.
Yeah, and they go, well, I have some pie in the fridge. And they come in there, they go in there, they fucking get a fucking needle full in the bathroom.
And they unzip their pants.
And they jerk off.
They start jacking
off.
Wow.
You can do whatever you want there.
That's wild. Now, as a young boy, I used to love going to the library.
The library is great.
I used to go to the Trafalgar Library.
Okay.
In Indiana. And there's two old ladies working there.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a unhoused person in sight.
No. 20, 30 years ago, the last place you would go if you were on the street is a
library.
A library. I mean, that's boring. Books? What are you talking about?
Right.
Yeah, but
now these people are they're competing in the summer reading program there.
Yeah, so I guess, and I think a lot of it is like these people that work at the libraries want to help these people, like that guy said.
Yeah.
But it's just like a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a
they're
lot.
Not trained for it.
They're not trained for it.
No, they're not trained for it. They spent half their life learning the Dewey Decimal System. They didn't learn about how to triage.
They figured Dewey Decimal System. So I'm good at writing.
Yeah.
I'm good at writing. The job would help me. The job would help me. And that's why I want to work. And that's the one job where they go, great cover letter. Come on in.
Yeah, exactly. And now they're essentially
they're wiping
their last
65-year-old's ass. It's crazy.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, we hope the libraries get it together.
Yeah. Well, no one goes to the library to read anymore because you just look shit up on your phone.
And nobody reads anymore.
I
like a nice paperback book.
Me too. A nice
Kindle. It's for girls. The Kindle.
Now I, even if I should come on hard times, will not be going back to the library because I still owe the Johnson County Library untold sums of money for a biography on George Washington Carver that I never returned.
Really?
It, in fact, stayed on a shelf in my childhood home that was later bulldozed to the ground. And so if I wanted to find the book to return it, I'd have to first tear down a old folks home they built in the place of my childhood home.
Oh, really?
And then dig deep under the ground to see if there's any remnants of the book left.
Wow.
But the Johnson County Library, they don't really have a whole lot of sympathy for my story.
No.
They go,
now, you're from Johnson County.
Kansas.
That's what it's called, though. The county's Johnson County.
Sure, yeah.
I'm from Johnson County, Indiana.
Oh, really? Is that right? Wow.
So,
Put it
nice
there.
to meet you.
What a clammy handshake. What a clammy handshake.
It's not out of nerves. It's just my hands are sweaty.
Well,
nothing I can do about it.
Nothing you could do about it, but with a little bit of training, maybe a few college courses on looking people in the eye.
I should have gone to college.
Yeah. But
what can you do now? It's too late. I have to do this until I try to off myself at 80 years old when I have Huntington's disease.
Yeah, and Katy Perry's coming for your fucking home. Coming for everything. You know?
So that's it.
Yeah.
I'll end
Don't
up
worry,
at the fucking local library.
Well, if you do, don't worry. I'm tracking your every movement. So just in case, I know exactly where to go.
Thank God.
Yeah, but folks, that has been this episode of Echo Chamber. Thank you for listening. As always, follow Trent and I wherever you can find us, on Instagram, on all the other shit.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, share it with your friends, your comrades. That's it.
It's a great way to get the news without reading.
Exactly. And we report the news 100% truth.
And we give nice, steady commentary.
Exactly.
On all of it.
Well, that's it.
Tell us what you think of the map if you watched on YouTube, right? And leave a comment. Let us know what you think of the map.
That's it. That's the show. As always, this is Trent Mabry signing off.
And this is Joe Nunnink tuning out.
Bye-bye.